Hey, what's up? What's going on? It's Michael Yo. Welcome to the Michael Yo Show podcast. All right, you know what you can do? You can always subscribe. You can rate it. You can give it stars, all that kind of good stuff. Thank you for all the love. I just did Joe Rogan last week, and I'm getting so much love from the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm glad I'm opening up a lot of people's eyes to the coronavirus. Look, I know we all need to get back to work. We all need to. I just got booked for a comedy club in Miami. They're opening up this weekend. But my thing is just stay safe. Please stay safe when you're out there running around and, just getting back to work. Me and my wife, we had a discussion today about just walking our kids. You know, my son's 3, my daughter's 5 months old. And it was like, I'm starting to see people poke their heads out of their houses and kind of look around and go, okay, it's getting safer. Maybe should we go for a walk? I don't know. So that's the kind of conversations we're having. And I think that's kind of conversations a lot of people need to have. As always, if you have a question or you have a comment, since this is on Facebook and YouTube Live, you can just leave a comment. It'll pop up on the screen and we'll read it. But I'm excited today because on the podcast today is a guy that created Pictionary, Robert Angel. And what's great about Robert Angel is he did it at a time where what blows me away about this, Robert, is you created Pictionary when you were in college, correct?
Just after, but yeah, same gig.
Same gig, just after college. But before we get to the Pictionary story, I want to know what it was like for Robert growing up. What kind of kid were you? Because to me, I was just a kid. I didn't really play with toys. I didn't have, my mom was always at home, but she kind of was learning English. I still can't speak English, obviously. Was learning English when I was growing up. But what kind of kid were you?
I think they called me rambunctious. I was always, right? I was always in motion. It was hard for me to sit still. I was always out. I was always doing something. So I was always looking for an adventure, and it could be a 2-minute adventure. And so I was just having fun. I was kind of living in the moment, every moment.
Okay, so what about school? What now? Did you have a lot of friends? Were you kind of a loner? What type of kid were you?
Oh, I'm not a loner. No, I had I'm a lot of things, but a loner is not one of them. No, I had a lot of friends. I like to socialize. Not many people know this. I was a champion pole vaulter.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at that. No fear too. You had no fear in you.
No, I wound up, bloody a few times. You get the pole in and you hit the ground. So no, I'm always in motion, like I said. And, I liked social activity.
Did you ever hurt yourself really bad pole vaulting? Did you break any bones?
No bones, but I was bloody and bruised because it's like, you're running into the box and you don't go fast enough. Instead of going over the pole, you basically wound up in your butt on the runway, and you're bruised, you're bloody, but you just get up, and I just kept going.
Now, what makes you want to be a pole vaulter? Because I see those guys do that, guys and gals, and I'm like, okay, first of all, I can understand. I ran track, and I was always looking at our pole vaulters going, why would that even enter your mind, pole vaulting? What was it about pole vaulting that got you excited and wanted to do it?
Competition. One of my best friends was a pole vaulter, and I decided if he can do it, so can I. And when I got into it, I really enjoyed it. But I also found it was the one sport that was indoors at my high school, so I didn't have to go outside in the rain in Spokane during practice. So it was nice and comfortable, even with the bruises. So I enjoyed the competition and keeping dry.
Okay, so were you a creative kid when you were young? Were you creating games when you were a kid, or were you into gameplay yourself? What was your favorite game growing up?
Risk. Yeah, growing up, we had a really tight neighborhood. There was 25 kids. We're all about the same age, and we would spend our winter months at one of the kids' houses playing games, Risk, Monopoly, Clue. So that was ingrained in me. So when Pictionary came around several years later, I was already kind of in that collaboration, that mindset.
Okay, were you good at games though? Were you always winning or were you always losing in games?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
My brain just says I won every game. I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Okay.
I kind of think so.
Okay. So growing up, you went to high school and then you went to college, but you
Yep.
started in Canada. You started your life off in Canada, correct?
Yeah, raised in, born in Canada, moved to Spokane when I was 5. So I pretty much, I'm an American citizen. So this is my home.
Okay, good, good. So you don't remember much about Canada growing
No,
up there. Okay. So you started in Spokane. So you went to high school and then you went to college. You stayed in the Washington area.
I did. I went to Spokane, one corner of the state, to Bellingham, the other corner of the state, basically as far away from home as I could get and still pay in-state tuition.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. See, you were already smart, even going into college. Already smart. So, what did you love about Spokane and Washington in that area that made you want to stay? Because most people, when they get to college, they're like, I got to get out of here. I'm going as far away as possible. Were you close to your parents?
Yeah, tight family. Everybody was close. So it just, my friends were there. I think back then, even at that age, I wasn't quite ready to explore the world, even though I wanted to. I think it was just kind of a safety net, but still be far enough away where I couldn't go home on weekends.
Okay.
Right? I don't want to drop off my laundry.
Right. And you don't want your parents, come and check on you. So it needs to be a far enough drive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So you get to college.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they get to college, they like to party. Were you that guy that was like, okay, I'm in college. It's time to throw down and have fun?
This is live, right?
Yeah, this is live.
So, yes, I discovered girls and Days of Our Lives, a soap opera, and beer.
There you go.
And so after my first year, I got a little note one day from the school, and I thought it'd be really cool. They're going, I'm ready to open it. I thought they're going to say, oh, good work, Mr. Angel. You're really good at intramural sports. No, I was on academic probation.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I had to figure out, do I really want to stay in school or not? I mean, what am I doing here? So that was kind of there was a couple of big kicks in the butt. And that was one. It was like,
so did you finish school?
I did.
Oh, good for you.
I did. I had to figure out if I was going to finish or not. So my father had been fired from his job. Oh. And so I not only was on academic probation, I had to pay for it myself.
Oh, okay.
So it was this double whammy if I want to stay. So I got a job in the cafeteria, then I took a job waiting tables. And even with all that, I was not a good student.
You are.
I mean, I was determined to finish, but my GPA didn't matter. I graduated with a 2.9. So I kind of felt the 2.9 was a good barometer of what was to come. Michael?
Okay. Hang on one second. I'm coming back.
There you go. I hear you.
There I am. There.
I hear you.
I'm telling you.
I hear you.
I've been having terrible internet issues in my house. And then when I check the speed of the internet, it says it's good. Like, I don't know what's going on. I told my wife, I think we're in this weird field where we can't get phone calls in our house. Nothing. It's like crazy.
Good.
My house is possessed, Robert. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm going to cut off now.
Yeah. So you go to college, you're having fun, but you can admit it makes it a different experience once you have to pay for it yourself. You're like, okay, if I got to pay for college for myself, then I better do something.
Oh, absolutely. It was, fish or cut bait. Why are you here? And all those questions start going through your head. And really, there was no doubt in my mind I was going to do it. I didn't know how. That's why I got the job. I mean, the next day, when I find this out, I go to the school cafeteria and I said, hey, do you guys need anybody to work? And they go, yeah. So I wound up scooping ice cream, my first job at college, Saturday night. And there I am with the red and white stripe ice cream scoop. But I was the first guy to ever have the job. So it had the little thing with the darts in it for boobs. So the comments were coming pretty fast and furious, but I got the job, and I
would think that's a great way to meet women, though.
My children are listening. But yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you're front and center, and you're taking the jabs. I was taking the jabs. It was like, whatever, guys. I got a job.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to throw up a comment. Somebody wrote in, Patty Brennan wrote in, Pictionary, such a great game. Did you develop Pictionary Junior also?
Yes. We had Pictionary came out in 1985, June 1st, 1985, which is 35 years ago. I mean, yeah, like
Wow.
you're telling me, wow, 35
Yeah.
years ago on June 1, I launched it in Seattle. And when we did, all we thought about was the game. We were just a one product deal at that point, my partners and I. But after a couple of years, the success of the game, we had to start expanding the line, expanding the brand because it became a brand. And we did Pictionary Junior as the first line extension.
Okay, let's jump into Pictionary. So you go through college. Now you graduated college, and right after college, you're like, I need a job, or I got to create a game that's going to make me a millionaire. The tough options, I know, but
Yeah.
what led you? Where did you work right out of college, and did that give you enough time? How did that give you enough time to create Pictionary?
Well, I did. I went right back to waiting tables. That's how.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I still like the freedom of waiting tables. If I wanted more money, I just work more shifts. If I want to take a vacation, I cover my shifts. And so when I had this kind of open attitude, as I called it, one day my roommate said, "Hey, do you want to play this game, Charades on Paper? It's just sketching words out of the dictionary." I'm going, sure. I mean, I'm looking for an opportunity. Why not? But it was just, we just had fun. There was no game idea. There was no, I could make $1 million on this. It was just, hey, let's just have fun.
So the first version with you and your friend, he would just say a word out of dictionary. One of y'all would draw it, and the other people would try to guess it.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. There's no board, no rules. You know, if you got a word right, you get a high five and a sip of your beer. I mean, that's about it.
Right?
Right? It wasn't that complicated.
I think you could actually come out with that game you just talked about, and you could sell that. Just add the beer.
Oh yeah, I did. We actually had rules revolving alcohol in the beginning of the game, but we took those out.
Okay, so you do this home version with you and your friends for how long before you're like, all right, this could be something. Maybe we should make a couple demos, I guess, and kind of give it out to people to see if they like it. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, kind of. I knew, because what we just talked about, that words were the reason people play the game, because people are, they don't want to get a dictionary. They don't want to come up with their own words. So until I figured out how to get words into the game, I was kind of stuck. So I kept in my mind, I'm 23 years old, I'm 24 years old, and my mom sends me Trivial Pursuit. And I take the game and I open it up and I look at this card that's in the game. And there was a question on it. And what animal has translucent fur and hollow skin? And I got that wrong, but turn it over. And I see the word polar bear. I go, polar bear. And I look at it, I go, that's how we make Pictionary. I put words on a card. If it works for them, it works for me. It was that simple. I was waiting for that aha moment. That was my, I better get going on this. I see some way to get this done.
Do you think if you didn't create Pictionary, somebody else would?
I'd like to think so, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because it was just something that I saw, something that I did. I think there was something in me that really wanted to create something, because it wasn't just one day I found this game and I'm going to make a game out of it. I had that attitude, that mentality from college, that I'm going to create something for myself. When my dad got fired, I didn't want to be beholden to somebody else to fire me. I said, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to do what's right for me. I'm going to start my own thing. And so that was my mindset. So when Pictionary came along with my roommates, it resonated so quickly. And it wasn't just an idea. It was like my DNA to do something with this.
Now, did you try to create other games before Pictionary that just didn't work out? Or was Pictionary your first time at bat and bam, knocked it out of the park?
I did a few other jobs, but as far as creating goes, yeah, it was just lightning in a bottle.
So from that first time you played in the living room till the game actually, you knew you had something real special. How much time went between that?
Well, it took us about 14 months to physically put the game together to get that first game. And it still took a year or more of working my butt off, of working, 24/7, if you will, to get it going. So it took about a year and 18 months after we launched when I kind of looked around. I saw everybody's playing something that I did, and people are talking about something that I created. And it was pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't ego, but it was certainly like, holy crap, people are talking about this. And then the game's sitting on my shelf or my counter, and it was pretty heady stuff.
Now you talk about like you knew always you were going to create something. You had that fire inside you. Who would you say gave you that fire? Where'd you get that fire from?
You know, I haven't been able to articulate that question, that answer, because I've been asked before, but I think it was just within me. The question kind of is, are you an entrepreneur or are you a worker bee? And worker bee could be a CEO of a company, right? So I don't mean anything negative by that. And I never, ever from the beginning, at a very young age, pictured myself as a worker. And so I think it was just part of my DNA. My parents worked, my mom worked. So it wasn't, I had great examples.
So your father getting fired was really that was the point where you were like, okay, I can't work for people. I got to create my own thing. You can't, because I'm the same way. You know, I do work for I have several different jobs, but I am the happiest when I know instead of your brand I'm building, I would rather build my brand.
Absolutely. The best thing about being in the game business, or what you're doing as well, Michael, is the creative process. And it's the process of creating that excites me. It's if the end goal is not met, okay, that's fine. First of all, I don't have a goal half the time. I'm just creating stuff, right? Because that way I don't want to be disappointed. If I have a goal and I'm creating, I just start. So yeah, I love that process of creating something new from scratch, combining things that usually don't go together. You put those together. That's creative. I heard that expression, that somebody else said that. I loved it. It's taking things that don't really work and seeing if you can make something. If you can't, okay, try something else. And that process is what drove me. And in the beginning, everything was a creative process about Pictionary. There was no manual. There's no internet. There's no way to put a game together. So every day was creative.
Now, I know you said, like after Pictionary, I'm sure when you're making money, there's even more freedom to create. And you say you really never start. You kind of always creating. Did you ever have a miss where you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a home run that without a doubt. And then your friends were like, nah, that's not good.
Yeah. I would love to tell you everything I did was a creative genius. No, after just before we sold Pictionary, I came up with this idea that when my kids would open like a Barbie, for instance, the saddle for horse Barbie, the spurs, the horse, the bar, all these pieces wound up on the house, and people would step on them. So I thought, okay, there's got to be a better way to keep all this stuff organized. So I came up with Red Squirrel Easy Toy Bag. I thought this was going to sell billions. Plastic bag, mesh bags, you're right on there what it's going to be, strong, we sold like 9. So I may be exaggerating. Yeah, it just didn't catch on, and I thought it was brilliant. I bought 8 of the 9.
Now, you're right. Now, if you would have been way ahead of the turn if you would have said, okay, forget about picking up the toys. Unboxing the toy is the play. Now, YouTube, that Ryan kid, oh my God. Like all he does is open stuff. And now he's opening his own products.
Right. This is all pre-internet. I mean, we had to shoot a TV commercial for this.
Whoa.
This was a full-on cast and crew, and our kids were involved. This wasn't like you get your little cell phone and you make this cool YouTube video and you put it out, make $1 million and have 1 million followers. I mean, yeah, it was.
What game that you played growing up, or even now, that you wish you had created?
Oh, well, besides Trivial Pursuit, let's be honest. I'm a big fan of Balderdash.
See, I don't know what that is.
That's actually one of the premises for the name Pictionary. That's where you get a word and nobody knows what it is, and everybody writes down what, a meaning to what it is. They're read back, and then whoever guesses that your word is or your definition is best, you score points. And it's just dead simple stuff, but it's creative, it's interactive. That's what I like about games.
Now, do you have kids, correct?
I do.
How many kids do you have?
2. 23 and 25, 24 and 26.
Okay, so when they saw you, when they learned that you created Pictionary, when they could fully grasp that, were they ever in the creative mood where they're like, well, I'm going to invent something too?
Absolutely. I mean, I love that. My daughter came to me one day and she goes, hey, Dad, I want to do Pictionary back to school. Okay, honey. So we spent days and weeks coming up with lunch boxes, and she did it all. And so she's like 12 years old. I call my friends at Mattel and I go, would you take a meeting for my daughter? They go, absolutely. So there we are. We go down to Mattel and we're sitting at this conference room and she's 12 years old. And just before we start, she turns to me and she goes, Dad, you're a fly on the wall. Don't say a word.
No way.
And I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And there she is going through her pitch. We rehearsed it. And these 4 executives, she's answering questions. It was amazing.
And how'd she do?
So she gives her pitch and they said, we'll get back to you, Miss Angel. We'll get back to you. And they're laughing inside, but it was well done. I mean, really well done. So we get home every day. Dad, is it in the mail? What do they want to do? Are they going to license? What are they going to do? Every day for a month. Finally, the letter comes and she opens it up and it says, Dear Miss Angel, regret to inform you. Nice friends I've got up there. Anyway.
Wow.
They go, no, they were cool. It was much, much nicer than that.
Of course.
But they said, it's not within our product line, blah, blah, blah. And I look at her and I'm thinking, oh, poor kid. I go, what do you want to do with this? She goes, are you kidding me? This is awesome. I'm going to frame it and put it in my wall. She took the rejection letter, framed it, and used it for motivation and kept it on her wall until she left for high school. It was awesome.
That's great. That is great, because it's kind of like when, rest in peace, but when Kobe was alive, he let his kids keep their participation trophy if they didn't get first place, and said, this is something you never won again. You want to get the first place trophy, Exactly. So it's kind of like that plaque. When you put it up there, it's like, I never want to get a rejection letter again. I'm going to make sure it's better. And that's great, man.
Oh, it was fabulous.
Now, what was it, your wife or you? Like when the kids were at home, who was the tougher one? Like discipline?
You tell me. Who do you think?
Your wife.
No. No. I was fun, of course, but I was setting the rules and I was, holding kids' feet to the fire. So as much as, I'm, as I say, a little wild man in my personal life, when it came to certain things like my kids, I was as stern as I could be. I wanted to give them the lessons, and they're both great kids. So they turned out.
It worked because my son, I have no problem holding his feet to the fire. My daughter is 5 months and she's not doing anything right now. But even when she gets older, I don't know how I'm going to ever say no. Like, she's so adorable.
Good luck. You just got to get into your own rhythm with your kids or whoever you're talking with. But I'm not giving you parenting advice.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to set the rules, because their job as children is to push boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
They're just doing their thing. There was this friend of mine, and his 2-year-old was running around and knocking things off the shelf, and he sternly tell the kid, stop doing that. And finally, he'd just get frustrated. I go, dude, he's doing his job. He's 2. Exactly.
Really? I'll tell my son to stop something, and he'll put his hand on it and just look at me.
Of course.
Like, he's like, what you gonna do, Dad? That's their job. That's their job. Yeah. Okay. So I want to go back to Pictionary. You started this right after college. Yeah, I know you made like 6,000 games and you sold them for $35 a piece, correct? That's what I read at least.
Yeah, we did. My partners and I, we put together 1,000 games in my apartment by hand. So we borrowed some money, 35 grand, and we had 9 different companies supplying us with parts because back then, no internet, go make us a game. So we figured we need boxes. So I literally went to the yellow pages, opened it up, and looked at the word boxes. Seriously. And we go down, box makers, and we did some interviews and found a box maker. Then we had pencils and cubes and board. We had 9 different companies supplying us with parts, all sent to my apartment. And there was a couple of problems, but eventually we had the 1,000 games by hand ready to go for the launch.
I think you cut out again. Did you cut out?
I didn't. You did.
Oh, okay. Well, I heard everything you said. So you're ready to launch. So you sold those 1,000 games. You spent $35,000 on all the pieces. Now, were you scared you weren't going to make that money back ever?
No, didn't bother me in the slightest. That wasn't the intention. The intention was to sell those 1,000 games to see if anybody liked it.
I love that. So how fast did that sell?
We sold out pretty quick. I mean, we were bottom of escalators doing demonstrations. We were doing anything to sell the game. We launched June 1, and by September, we realized we were going to be out of those 1,000, and then we had to figure out a way to scale it up to 10,000. So yeah, those days, Michael, I tell you, man, those days were so much fun. I'd wake up literally every day creating, I'd literally go, okay, what's going to happen today? Yeah. What unknown thing is going to happen today? Because every day was unknown. And so rather than getting worked up over things that went wrong, or actually even things that went right, it was like, okay, got that one. Let's go to the next thing. It was so much fun. The marketing, the promoting, and the selling of the game back then, 26 years old, had a blast.
So when did you get the call, like the knock on the door? Hey, you got something here. We want to go into business with you. How fast did that come right after that?
It was bizarre. So we launched June 1 of 85, and February, as I kind of like to joke, Mattel, Hasbro, Worlds of Wonder, they came to Seattle to talk to all their stores. Well, how many risks do you need? None. How many monopolies? None. Why? Because all we sell in Seattle is Pictionary. Oh, that got their attention. So within literally a 2-week period, every major game company in the world contacted us about a license.
And this was pre-cell phone, so you had to be at home with the answering machine on.
Dang answering machine. If you couldn't get too far away from it, certainly you couldn't leave the house during the day because you just couldn't get the messages.
You don't want to miss that call.
You do not want to miss that call. And so so they all called us, and we had a deal to license. So the only way we could do this to scale Pictionary, because it was becoming so big, it was too big for us to even finance. We had to license, which basically means somebody else does all the manufacturing and distribution and gives us money, gives us a check. I like this idea.
Yeah.
It's not bad. All right, fine. So we have this deal with Hasbro, the biggest board game company in the world by far. And we have this deal, and we get the contract. And I'm 26 years old. I'm making $500 an hour. I'm driving a 10-year-old beater car, and I'm still waiting tables. I mean, this is like, okay, contract comes, biggest royalty rate they've ever given an independent game company.
Now, for people watching that doesn't know what a royalty rate is, can you let them know what that is?
So they manufacture the games and distribute, market, and sell. And at the end of the month, they add them up and they give us a percent of those sales. So if it's even numbers, $1, and we get 10% royalty, they give us 10% of every game sold.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave us a big royalty rate. So at a $15 wholesale, we're getting a percent of that on every game sold for not doing any of the work. So contract comes, huge royalty rate. And the one thing they did not put in the contract that we demanded was that they couldn't touch the packaging without our approval, because some marketing manager is going to change it. Who knows what's going to happen? Our vision was keep Pictionary the way it was, because, as we always said, when we take care of Pictionary, it will take care of us. That was our mantra from day one. We didn't go after the money. We didn't go after the accolades. We went after making Pictionary the best product it could be, and all that other stuff would happen. So that's what drove us. So there I am, 26 years old, signing a little contract, looking at this contract. All I have to do is sign that piece of paper, and I am no longer waiting tables. I get a new car.
You're a millionaire.
I'm a millionaire. I didn't sign it. I wouldn't sign it because it didn't align with our vision. My two partners felt the same way. It was like, okay, we have no plan B. We say no to these guys. We could be going back to waiting tables. The game could fail. 100 reasons.
Now, can I ask you this? Was it easier to say no, though, because these other companies were calling too?
No, they were the last call. By the time we got to Hasbro, they were the last option. They were the big deal. So we kind of put them last. So no, there was no plan B. And
so then what happened?
There was 2 days of, what have you done? I'd love to tell you, my vision was so clear. But we went right back to work, to slogging it out. 3 weeks later, unbeknownst to us, there was some forces working behind the scenes, and some 3 companies formed a joint venture, came to us, licensed it with all the things that we wanted, plus a bigger royalty rate.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like, now I'm signing this. You can't break my arm fast enough to sign this deal. So yeah, we got everything we wanted and needed, and it just, because of us holding firm to what we knew we wanted, needed, and our vision, we got a better deal.
And see, that's what I think that's important about this podcast is when you actually have a vision and you know that it's going to work, a lot of people will sacrifice that for money. A lot of people will go, well, it's not exactly what I want, but let me take this money because, it's still good, but it's not exactly what, and I'm sure you've seen stories of that as well.
Of course.
So I just think what I love about your story, you stuck to your guns, you held your own feet to the fire, and you're like, this is the way the game's going to go, and this is what we're going to do. Now, the 2 people that kind of started this in that room with you, or the one person, were they part of all this as well?
That's the one, the 400 beauties of this whole story, is that absolutely my 2 partners felt the same way. There was no argument over should we or shouldn't we. We shared the same vision from the beginning, and we all connected from the beginning, not just because we wanted to make money. It's because we had the same attitude, the same mentality, the same morals, the same compass. And so when these decisions came down, there was a lot of fights. Let's be honest. Nothing goes smoothly, but it was always about Pictionary. It's never about each other. It's never personalities. And so when this whole opportunity came around, it's in the book, it's a big story, the book that I wrote, of how we all worked together without ego to make this whole thing work.
And that book, let's talk about it, Gamechanger. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, it's called Gamechanger, and it's on. You can order it now on Amazon or my website, Rob Angel. But it's about, I had an idea, right? I'm just this 26-year-old waiter, and I have this idea, and the book chronicles all the steps, the ups, the downs, and there was plenty of all of those. How I got it to market, and then I kept at it for 17 years. And made Pictionary the worldwide success it was. And it's just really the nuts and bolts, but it's really just a story of hope, really. If I can do it, let's be honest, if I can do it, anybody can. 2.9 GPA, but I had a vision.
Now, is there, for people that are listening to the podcast, or watching this on YouTube, Facebook Live, is there anything, like, they're creative as well? Is there what's the piece of advice you can give them? If they hit a rough spot right now, if they're in that rough spot, like, I don't know if this is going to work out, what's the one piece of business advice or just, life advice for creative people that you can give?
Yeah. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, because you're going to get roadblocks. It's just going to happen. You're going to get stuck physically trying to put 2 pieces together. You're going to mentally be tired one day. It just happens. It's just human nature. But just know that's coming. And when it does, I do what I call timeouts. So I take, whatever.
I do with my kid. So there you go.
It's like timeouts, right? Now they call it meditation and breathing and all this stuff. Whatever mindfulness you want to use, whatever terms you want to use. I mean, I used to go for movies. So for instance, when I have this idea for Pictionary, right? I see this Trivial Pursuit card and I'm ready to go. And what happened really was I didn't do anything. I didn't take any action because I got inside my head. I started thinking about negative self-talk. It was like, oh crap, I am just a waiter. I can't do this. I don't have the skills. I don't have the talent. And then on top of that, the hard part was I started visualizing Pictionary on the shelf. I could do that. All the steps to get there. It was too much for me. So I shut down. I literally just put it away. Couldn't do anything with it. And then I went, okay, what is the first easiest step that I could take? Let's break it down. Well, it was making the word list because the words were the most important. I didn't, though, make a list of all the steps necessary to get it on the shelf. That also was too much for me. I just had to get started with the first step. So I grabbed a pad of paper, a pencil, and a dictionary because those were the things in front of me. Didn't overthink those either. Went in the backyard, make the word list. I open up the dictionary, and I'm looking. And the first word that I saw that made sense to me, aardvark. I write down the word aardvark, right? And so I write it down. I'm not making this up. Now we're talking 36 years ago. I kind of break into a little bit of a cold sweat. And I'm like, anybody else see that? Because I wrote down the word aardvark because I got started and it made it real. It wasn't just this idea rattling in my head because the mind shift was profound because I was in my head as a waiter. The second I wrote down the word aardvark, I was no longer a waiter. I was a game inventor.
Love it.
Right? That's the new mindset. And so, okay, Rob, you're no longer a waiter. What does a game inventor do? He writes down more words. Well, there's more steps to come. Right now, I got the dictionary in front of me, abacus. Now I'm going, holy moly, and wrote for months. That's all I did. Write words for the game. I stopped.
Love it.
I took that first step, and I call it finding your aardvark, because as I said earlier, without taking steps, without taking action, doesn't mean anything. I could be sitting here 35 years later. I've got this great idea for a game. Yes. Big deal. So what? So that's those steps, but simple, easy first steps without thinking. Just go. Just get started. I mean,
I agree with that because I feel like some people talk about their ideas so much they talk themselves out of them.
That's you start talking about your ideas. There's two philosophies. I'm of the philosophy, the more I talk about my ideas with my friends, there's no chance of me doing it because everybody's going to give you their opinion, why it's good, why it's bad. I'm not looking for collaboration. I need to get started first, then solicit ideas, and then collaborate. But until you get started with that first step, one of the easiest first steps that I find now is GoDaddy, right? It's something tangible, low-hanging fruit, $8. You go to GoDaddy, you make up a domain name, or if you've got the business or the idea, $8. And if that's the only thing you ever do, that's okay. At least you got started.
I love that. I got a question that came in. Do you still play Pictionary with your friends? Are you good? And do you get trash talk if you lose? That's from Aaron Hill.
Aaron, let's take the last question first. Yeah, of course I do. Because I'm terrible at my own game. I can't, I'm telling you, I cannot sketch. I'm pretty good at guessing, but you don't want me on your team. I'm not an advantage. I'm just not an advantage. And physically play the game, it's been a while, but with Zoom and this connectivity we're having with technology, I've played more in the last 3 months than I have in the last 10 years. And it's a ball, right? This Pictionary is keeping people connected in ways we never imagined 6 months ago, 3 months ago. Who would have thought this? So yeah, I'm doing Zoom parties and it's really gratifying and really fun. I mean, even through Zoom or whatever you want to use, I'm still having a ball with it.
Okay, so before we wrap up, is there, you got the book Gamechanger that you want everyone to get.
Yeah.
Also, are you on any social media? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Twitter? What's your fave?
Yeah. Instagram, Facebook, and what's the other one? Facebook,
Is
Instagram.
it Twitter?
No. Facebook.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Are you on TikTok, Robert? Are you making dance videos?
Not yet, but I will. We should make one together.
There you go.
I'll
There
leave.
you
No. Make one again. No, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, The Rob Angel.
All right. The Rob Angel.
The Rob Angel. You can follow me all there.
All right. What?
I'll be doing the launch party on June 1 as well. So you can find me there. It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, I'm so excited to have you on because I really feel this is an inspirational story. Because a lot of people, they're in their homes, and who knows, this COVID is really bad, but if you're in the right mindset, it may create something, you have time now to create something you've always wanted to create. So I think I see a lot of my friends that are motivated. They're finding great things. They're learning languages. They're learning instruments. And who knows, you may have that great idea that you always like, I'm too busy. Well, now you're not.
Now you're not. Yeah. No, I think the one thing that when people ask me, did you have a routine when you were doing Pictionary when I was 25 years old? I didn't have the routine that we all talk about now, which I'm all for, do your meditation and then do your workout, whatever it is. But back then, my only routine was not being afraid of the unknown. That's all I could do. That was the only mindset that I could have because I didn't know from one day to the next. And it's really what's going on now. All this unknown that's happening, it's going to happen. The unknown is here. You can't ignore it. I couldn't ignore it. So when the phone would ring and I'd find some new question, instead of panicking, going, I don't know, I was going, well, there's another new question. So don't be afraid of the unknown. Just embrace it. Know it's going to happen. Take those little bitty steps, and you'll never know what life will open up for you.
All right, Robert. Well, thank you for being on the pod. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, Michael. It was great.
All right. Tell all your fans, be safe and healthy. And, all right. Have a great one.
Take care.
Bye-bye.